Hey, you guys. This is something a little different. This is something I want to pass along from Spirit. Just something that's on my spirit to tell you guys. And as I always say, my videos are for educational purposes, just to spread awareness and knowledge. My thoughts, feelings, perceptions. Yeah, things have been kind of weird lately. And, I don't talk about my spiritual side a whole lot, but I'm going to be getting into that more and getting more videos up along those lines. I've got a lot of videos to cover. I'm going to get to it, you guys, because I do different content here on the channel. Eventually, I'm going to make a second channel. But, yeah, I've got a pronounced spiritual side. I always have. And like I've mentioned in a video the other day, a lot of times people, they don't talk about that as much because they fear, people are going to judge them or discredit them. But it is what it is. I listen to Spirit all the time. Without that, I probably wouldn't be alive. I've been very tuned into Spirit since I was a child. You call it whatever you want. Everybody has a certain way of putting it or a certain name for it. I don't know. It's just that inner knowing. But I want to tell you guys to pay attention, okay? Please pay attention, because this world will have you so caught up in the 3D, the day-to-day, okay? What's right here in front of your face, and it's all an illusion. It'll have you so caught up that you can't see the forest for the trees until sometimes it's too late. So I want you to pay attention. I'm going to pass that along to you. Whatever situation you're in right now, whatever you're dealing with, sometimes you may have people in your life, as I did at one point, they are purposely trying to blind you. They will talk fast. They will talk over you. They will constantly be creating a stir or something going on, something very distracting about their energy. They themselves are always distracted. Therefore, they're keeping you constantly distracted. And that's for a reason. I feel like there are those of us who are very focused. We are very dialed in, very tuned into our higher intuition, our higher knowledge, or working on it. We are very tapped into source and, tuned into our calling, our purpose, or at least we know we have one and we haven't maybe quite found it yet, but we're working towards it, and we want to keep the disciplines that we've been setting up for ourselves so that we can keep working towards that higher calling or purpose. And a lot of people aren't going to understand that. A lot of times we get in mismatched relationships, we get in situations in life where the frequencies are just so mismatched. And I was in a situation like that. Completely the opposite, where for 5 or 6 years of my life, I literally was unable to concentrate. I was unable to hear Spirit. I was unable to really think my next thought. I was involved with an alcoholic, a severe alcoholic. Okay, that's strike number one. Right there, you already know you're in for a life of dysfunction, chaos, and hell. Number two, a narcissist. Okay, constantly devouring my time and energy, my thoughts, constantly battling to control my mind, my thoughts, my time, all that. And this person would literally freak out if he couldn't have control of my every thought, of my entire mind. And anytime he knew that, it didn't matter. Any conversation, anytime I would make a point, anytime I would talk on anything interesting or anything to do with spirituality or higher knowledge or just anything to do with the soul or bettering oneself or anything, discipline, order, anything, he would always counteract it. He would always flip it, gaslight it, play the opposing side. He would call it playing devil's advocate. And he always had these excuses for these tactics that he used. Of course, I knew he was just a narcissist. And that's what they do. I knew there was something more sinister and negative and dark to his personality. Of course, he's a narcissist. A lot of times the narcissist will play dumb, though. It's either two things. They don't know. They're unaware. A lot of times narcissists are good at lying to themselves, and they've been pretending that they're a good person so long that they have all these little cutesy pie excuses or noble. They'll lie, it's a noble cause. They have all these excuses ready to fire off because they've been hiding under this mask. They've been convincing themselves that they're good for so long, that there's nothing wrong with them and what they're doing. Or the second thing is they don't know. They are clueless, totally like a mental illness. They don't know. They are unaware. They are that far gone that and there are people like that have mental illness. It's that way. And they're unaware that the tactics that they are using are actually tactics that they are very detrimental to the people around them and the effect that they have. Okay? But 9 times out of 10, most narcissists, even the ones that are loopy-de-loo, that really, because I'm sorry, but there are people out there that just really are hell-bent on destroying their mind, their brain, their soul. They are completely checked out of reality. They're doing as many drugs as they can get their hands on, alcohol. They're not studying anything of substance. They don't want to better themselves. They're staying checked out with nonsense all the time. They are dumbing themselves down if they can. They are numbing out from everything. And that's just how their personality ends up. But yeah, that would happen to me. 9 times out of 10, though, they know. They have some kind of awareness that something is wrong with them. They may not have all the answers. They may not have a total awareness of how all that works. But yeah, most of them, even the ones that are way out there on cloud 15 somewhere, have some kind of awareness that something's not right with them. They've been knowing it most of their life. And instead of getting help for it and really trying to do something about it or work to be a better person, they work to hide it more. They work to manipulate more. They're used to a certain thing. And they will really do you like that. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on in their brain. They're pretty much aware. But the narcissists are very good at lying to themselves, masters of illusion, lies, manipulation, deception. And that's how they can stand boldly in your face and do just about anything to you. And go right on and eat dinner and go right on like nothing ever happened and smirk, smile. And a person like myself being raised in childhood trauma, beating, sexual abuse, constant mental and emotional cruelty, games, manipulation, I grew up in all that. I had to learn a certain way of life, and I had a lot of those issues myself throughout my life. I had to have a lot of therapy and a lot of training and a lot of help to come through it. But the number one thing I had is the desire. You have to have that first and foremost. The desire and the willingness to grow as a human being, to grow away from those patterns, to recognize them first in myself, confront them, and then grow out of them and rewire and apply new patterns. So, but growing up like that, I had a lot of those narcissistic tendencies, lots of them in my teens and early adulthood. Manipulative, narcissistic, and so I know what that brain is like. I know what that mentality is like. It's just shocking seeing it on people later on in life that haven't outgrown that or worked on some of that. But growing up like I did, I understand the trauma brain. And, for most narcissists, that's what it is. It's trauma brain. I call it that. I've got family members like that. Trauma, mental illness, addiction, all of that runs high in my family. I've got a lot of experience with it. But I call it trauma brain. To a degree, my mother's like that. It's very difficult to have a conversation with her because, very intelligent woman, almost like an encyclopedia. History buff. I mean, I used to go to her for just about any type of knowledge. If she didn't know it, nobody did. Very intelligent person, but from the trauma over the years that she endured, her brain just split out of there. And I couldn't rely on her for serious things. I knew that if I went to my mother, I was generally going to get some kind of goofy response, no empathy, inappropriate response to the seriousness of the situation. And, she herself is narcissistic. She has high narcissistic tendencies a lot of the time. She does the best she can. She's my mother. I have forgiven her for a lot. But there was a lot of pain over the years, a lot of things. And I kind of had to get used to that. I had to have a lot of therapy about it. I love my mother. We have a good relationship now. It's pretty decent. But in a way, for a number of years, it was almost like not having a mother. Because I didn't have that close bond with my mother where I could go to her and she could really tune into me and show me empathy and consideration and love and nurturing and pay attention. I didn't have that. And it caused a lot of problems in my life. Lots and lots of problems that I had to work my way through. And something like that can spiral into abandonment issues, codependency issues. Yeah, I had all those things. I've had a lot of that in my life that I've had to work through. But anyway, trauma brain. So back to my main point about spirit and you paying attention, okay? Is that people like that will scramble your signals. They just will. They will do it not even meaning to sometimes. Not even, it is just because of their being. Just because they are in your energy field. Whether it's your lover, your partner, your mother, your sister, your friend, whoever they are, your coworker. When people have trauma brain, unhealed trauma brain, and a lot of times that's what the narcissist is with all of their tactics and defense mechanisms. It is an unhealed trauma brain that is so aloof, so goofy. I remember that feeling, though. That's the point I was trying to make. Growing up as an abused child and in my teens and in my 20s, I remember that feeling of what it's like to just have very little empathy, check out, convince myself of whatever it is I want to think, and not consider other people. And I had to really work on those tendencies. So yeah, trauma brain. They will scramble your signals, Please pay attention. Whatever situation you are in, do not let people do that to you, okay? They've been trying to do it to me forever. And I'm glad I'm out of that situation that was doing it so heavily to me. Because for years and years before I met that person, I had worked very hard on myself in therapy and studying and learning to stay present in my body, to feel my feelings, my emotions, work through those things, and not to numb out, not to check out all the time, not to lie to myself constantly, to have to live in denial every day just to survive. And I had just really worked hard on so many things being a child of trauma. And I won't say it was a shock to me to meet someone who hadn't and who probably had just as much trauma as me, maybe just in a different way. This was a very damaged individual. Very damaged individual. But it was shocking, the level of disconnect on this person. Covert narcissistic, very codependent, very, very highly addicted. Our whole entire relationship, I don't think he was sober, but maybe a handful of days. And looking back on it, that's just, it's unbelievable that I even had a relationship with someone like that. It was a very painful thing to go through. But I learned a lot. I have to take all of that pain and all of the chaos we went through, and I have to now turn it to wisdom. I have to heal it, transmute it, and turn it to wisdom. And believe me, it was painful. So, but that was on my spirit. It's been on my spirit all day for me to pass that along to you, to pay attention. I don't know who needs to hear it right now, but I was reflecting back today about some things that had happened to me, and it was really weighing on me how this person, especially this person, but life in general will do it to us. The interruptions, the distractions. Think about it. The things that come into your day uninvited, unexpected, taking little bits and pieces of your attention and your energy all day long. Yes. And if you have someone on top of that in your life that is addicted or narcissistic or selfish, extremely overly needy and codependent, not taking responsibility for their own issues, their own energy. That is their job, not yours. I'm going to get a video up soon about the importance of not being too nice. I don't care how many people want to judge it or tell you you're snobby or selfish, you're not. I'm going to tell you what I ended up getting for being too nice. Don't do it. Do not do it. Have your fucking boundaries. Don't ever compromise your boundaries for anyone. But, yes, think about it. If you have a person like that in your life, and when you catch on to the fact that that's what they're doing, it makes it 10,000 times more outraging. You know, for a while you go along thinking, oh, well, this person needs me. They need to talk. The person I was involved with had lost a child when we first came together. So I offered my energy. Naturally, what normal human being wouldn't for a friend, person who has empathy, what normal caring human being wouldn't. Of course, in retrospect now, I don't think that very same person would have done for me what I could offer to him at that time. The patience, the listening, that requires skill. That requires training. That requires a person that has worked on themselves to even be able to be that patient, to sit there and absorb that energy and listen that intently and care enough to let you do that. You see, and the narcissist mistakenly thinks that a person who has high empathy for them, a person with high compassion, a person willing to do that with the patience, that level of patience, understanding, compassion, who chooses to go ahead and take time out of their day, out of their life, and give them that empathy and compassion, give them that time and energy, listen to them. The narcissist thinks that's stupidity. I have a lot of insight into how the narcissistic brain works because I spent years with it, really starting back from childhood, but I got an extra special course of it over the last 6 years. And we did a lot of talking. We did a lot of discussing. I did a lot of listening and observing and paying attention. We got deep off into a lot of psychology, a lot of psychological conversations dating way back to the childhood and everything. So I have a very good idea of how the narcissistic brain works, coming straight from a narcissistic male, coming straight from their mouth, the horse's mouth, their operations, what makes them tick, whatever. And where was I headed with that? Where was I headed with that? Remind me. I lost my point. Oh, God, I hate it when that happens to me, guys. Remind me, what is my point? Narcissism. Oh, my God, I can't believe that's happening to me. I guess I'll get back to it. It'll come back to me. I'm going to have to turn this light out.